The ice planet had no name. It was just another dead rock floating at the edge of human space, marked only by numbers on star charts. Research Station Omega-7 orbited above the frozen world like a metal spider, its arms reaching into the darkness. Dr. Lihana pressed her face against the viewing port and watched the mining drones work far below. "Another boring day in paradise," said Dr. Park Minho as he joined her at the window. The older man had been her mentor for 3 years, but his jokes never got better. "Find anything interesting in those ice samples yet?" Hana shook her head. "Just more frozen dirt. This whole mission feels like a waste of time." She had been studying the planet's geology for 6 months. Every sample came back the same. Dead ice, dead rock, dead everything. The research station housed 12 people. Most were scientists like Hana and Minho. Commander Kim Ji-won ran security with his small team. They all knew each other too well after months in space together. Every conversation had been said before. Every meal tasted the same. Every day blended into the next. "Dr. Lee, please report to communications," came a voice over the intercom. Hana sighed and walked to the comm room. The message from Earth was routine. "Keep studying. Keep searching. Keep hoping to find something valuable." 3 hours later, everything changed. "Hana, you need to see this," called Dr. Yoon Mireille from her workstation. The AI specialist was staring at her screens with wide eyes. The deep mining drone found something strange. Hana hurried over. On the screen, she could see the drone's camera feed from deep inside an ice cave. The robot's lights cut through the darkness, revealing smooth walls that looked almost artificial. But that was not what made Mireille excited. In the center of the cave sat something that should not exist. It was round and smooth, about the size of a person. The surface looked like polished stone, but patterns moved across it like flowing water. The patterns glowed with a soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. "What is it?" Hana whispered. "I have no idea," Mireille replied, "but it's giving off energy readings I've never seen before." The patterns seemed to respond to the drone's presence. Within an hour, the entire crew was gathered around the screen. Commander Ji-won crossed his arms and frowned. "Could be dangerous. We should report this to command and wait for orders." "That could take weeks," Hana said. "By then, it might be gone. Or damaged. We need to bring it up for study." "Absolutely not," Ji-won replied. "Unknown alien artifacts stay where they are until experts arrive." Dr. Minho stroked his beard. "Hana has a point. This could be the discovery of the century. If we wait too long, some corporate mining ship might claim salvage rights." The debate continued for hours. Half the crew wanted to retrieve the object immediately. The other half wanted to follow protocol and wait for orders from Earth. Hana found herself leading the group that wanted action. "Look at those patterns," she argued, pointing at the screen. "They're responding to our presence. This thing might be alive, or at least it was alive once. Every minute we wait could be a minute too long." Dr. Yoon Mireille ran more scans. "The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. But it's stable, not increasing or decreasing. If it wanted to hurt us, it probably would have tried already." Commander Ji-won shook his head. "That's not how security works, Doctor. Unknown means dangerous until proven otherwise." In the end, Hana made the decision that would change her life forever. Late that night, when most of the crew was asleep, she took a maintenance pod down to the planet's surface. She told herself it was just a closer look. Just some basic scans. Nothing dangerous. The ice cave was even more beautiful in person. Her suit lights revealed walls covered in strange markings that seemed almost like writing. The patterns reminded her of flowing water or wind-blown sand. At the center, the egg-shaped object pulsed with gentle light. Hana approached slowly. Up close, she could see that the surface was not stone at all. It looked more like scales, each one perfectly fitted to the next. The blue glow came from between the scales as if something inside was trying to get out. She ran her scanner over the surface. The readings made no sense. The object was definitely organic, but older than anything she had ever studied. Much older. The dating systems couldn't even give her a number. "What are you?" she whispered. As if in response, the pulsing light grew brighter. The patterns on the surface moved faster. Hana realized she was looking at something that had been waiting in the ice for thousands, maybe millions of years. Waiting for someone to find it. Making a decision that would brand her as a traitor to her own species, Hana activated her pod's cargo lift. The object was heavy, but the mechanical arms managed to load it carefully. As the pod lifted off from the planet's surface, Hana felt a strange mix of excitement and fear. Back on the station, she moved the object to her private research lab. By the time the other crew members woke up, it was too late to send it back. Commander Jiwon was furious, but Hana had already begun her scans. "This is a court-martial offense," he warned her. "You violated every protocol we have." "Then arrest me after I figure out what this is," Hana replied without looking up from her instruments. The object was definitely an egg. Inside, something was growing. The energy readings showed complex biological processes that seemed impossible. Whatever was inside was alive and getting stronger. Dr. Minho tried to convince her to at least call for backup. "Hana, this is beyond anything we're equipped to handle. We need xenobiology experts. We need military support. We need to trust that sometimes the right thing and the safe thing are different," Hana replied. For 3 days, she barely left the lab. She ate meals at her desk and slept in the chair next to the egg. The patterns on the surface grew more active each day. Sometimes she thought she could see shapes in the light, almost like a face trying to form. On the 4th morning, hairline cracks appeared across the surface. Hana was alone in the lab when it happened. She had sent everyone else away, claiming she needed quiet to work. The truth was, she felt protective of whatever was inside the egg. If it was dangerous, she wanted to face that danger herself. If it was wonderful, she wanted to be the first to see it. The cracks spread slowly at first, then faster. Light spilled out between them, brighter than before. Hana held her breath and waited. What emerged was not what anyone could have expected. The creature that emerged from the egg was no bigger than Hana's hand. It looked like a tiny dragon from old Earth stories, but its scales shimmered like liquid starlight. 2 small wings folded against its back as it blinked at her with eyes that seemed far too intelligent for something so young. Hana held her breath. The little being looked around the lab with curiosity, not fear. When its gaze met hers, something passed between them. A connection that felt deeper than sight. "Yama," the creature said in perfect Korean. "Mother." Hana nearly fell from her chair. The word was clear and deliberate. This was not some animal making random sounds. This was communication. "How do you know that word?" she whispered. The creature tilted its head, studying her face. It took a shaky step forward on legs that were still learning how to work. Then another step. Its eyes never left hers. Hana slowly reached out her hand. The creature sniffed her fingers, then gently pressed its small head against her palm. Its scales felt warm and smooth, like polished metal that had been sitting in sunlight. "What are you, little one?" she said softly. Over the following days, Hana learned that hiding a growing alien was harder than she had expected. The creature, which she named Biol after the stars, was incredibly smart. It learned new words every hour. It watched everything with intense interest, and it was growing fast. After 1 week, Biol was the size of a house cat. After 2 weeks, it was as big as a small dog. Its wings were developing properly now, and it could glide short distances across the lab. Most importantly, it was learning to understand human emotions and reactions. "Yoma sad?" Biol asked one morning, looking up at Hana with concern. Its voice was clearer now, though still high-pitched like a child's. Hana had been thinking about Commander Jiwon's growing suspicions. The security chief had been asking too many questions about her extended lab time. She was running out of excuses. "I'm worried about keeping you safe," she admitted to Biol. "There are people who might want to hurt you if they knew you existed." Biol's scales darkened slightly. Hana had learned this meant the creature was thinking hard about something serious. "Biol, stay hidden," it promised. "Biol, keep Yama safe too." That afternoon brought the news Hana had been dreading. Dr. Minho found her in the cafeteria and sat down with a grim expression. "Federation Inspector Choi Daeho is coming," he said quietly. "Routine inspection, but his ship arrives in 3 days. He'll want to examine all our research, including whatever you've been hiding in your lab." Hana's blood turned cold. Inspector Choi was known throughout the research community as thorough and suspicious. He would not be fooled by locked doors and fake data files. "I need more time," she said. "Time for what?"
"Hana, what exactly are you hiding?"
The crew is starting to talk. "Jiwon thinks you found something valuable and you're planning to sell it privately." Hana looked around the cafeteria. Dr. Yoon Mirai was sitting alone at a corner table, but her eyes kept glancing in Hana's direction. 2 maintenance workers were pretending to read while clearly listening to conversations around them. "Meet me in Lab C tonight after the evening shift change," Hana whispered. "Come alone." That night, Hana made a decision that terrified and thrilled her. She was going to trust Dr. Minho with her secret. Biol needed allies, and Minho had always supported her work. When Minho arrived at the lab, Hana was sitting in her usual chair. Biol was nowhere to be seen. "So what's the big mystery?" Minho asked, looking around the seemingly empty room. "Promise me you'll keep an open mind," Hana said, "and promise you won't report this without talking to me first." Minho nodded, though he looked confused. "Biol, come meet Dr. Minho," Hana called softly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a section of the ceiling panel shifted, and Biol dropped down with perfect grace. The creature was now the size of a large dog, its wings fully functional. It landed silently and looked at Minho with intelligent eyes. Minho stumbled backward, his mouth falling open. "That's impossible. What is it? Where did it come from?" "From the egg we found," Hana explained. "Minho, meet Biol. Biol, this is Dr. Minho. He's a friend." Biol approached slowly, studying the older man. "Hello, Dr. Minho," it said in clear Korean. "Yama says you are a kind person." Minho sat down heavily in the nearest chair. "It talks. It actually talks. And it called you mother." Over the next hour, Hana explained everything. How Biol had emerged from the egg, how quickly it learned, how it seemed to understand concepts that should be far beyond any animal's comprehension. "Yesterday, it solved a quantum mechanics problem I had been working on for weeks," Hana said. "Just looked at the equations and pointed out an error in my calculations." It was right. Minho watched Biol demonstrate its abilities. The creature could manipulate small energy fields, moving objects without touching them. It could understand multiple human languages, even though Hana had only taught it Korean and basic English. Most remarkably, it seemed to sense emotions and respond appropriately. "This changes everything," Minho said finally. "This creature represents a completely new form of life. The scientific implications alone are staggering." "The political implications are worse," Hana replied. "If the Federation learns about Biol, they'll take it away for study, military applications, weapons research." As if understanding the conversation, Biol moved closer to Hana and pressed against her leg. The gesture was clearly seeking comfort and protection. "What do you need from me?" Minho asked. "Help me keep it safe during the inspection. Inspector Choi must not find Biol." They spent the rest of the night planning. Minho would create fake research data to explain Hana's long hours in the lab. Dr. Yoon Mirai would need to be convinced to modify the computer logs. Most importantly, they would need to find a way to hide Biol during the inspection. "There's something else," Hana said as they prepared to leave. "I've been studying the markings from the cave where we found the egg. I think they're not just decorations. I think they're some kind of historical record." She showed Minho her translations. The symbols seemed to tell a story of an ancient civilization that had once ruled vast areas of space. A people who could travel between stars before humans had even discovered fire. "If I'm right, Biol's species was the first intelligent life in this galaxy," Hana said. "And something destroyed them millions of years ago." Minho studied the symbols with growing excitement and concern. If that's true, then Biol might be the last of its kind. As if responding to their conversation, Biol made a sound that was almost like singing. The melody was sad and beautiful, unlike anything either human had ever heard. "Biol remembers songs from the deep time," the creature said softly. "Songs from when the stars were young and the darkness had not yet come." Hana felt a chill run down her spine. What darkness was Biol talking about, and why did she have the feeling that their troubles were just beginning? 3 days later, Inspector Choi's ship appeared on their sensors. Hana took a deep breath and prepared to protect the creature she had come to love as her own child. Even if it meant lying to her own species, even if it meant becoming a traitor to humanity itself. 6 months had passed since Biol hatched from the ancient egg. The creature now stood as tall as a horse, its wings spanning nearly 3 meters when fully extended. Its scales had deepened to a rich blue-black that seemed to hold the depth of space itself. Most remarkably, its intelligence had grown beyond what Hana thought possible. "Yama, the math equations you study are incomplete," Biol said one morning as Hana worked on quantum field calculations. "Your people understand the surface but not the deep currents underneath." Hana looked up from her tablet. "What do you mean by deep currents?" Biol moved closer, its large eyes reflecting the lab's lights. "Space is not empty. It flows like water, but in dimensions your instruments cannot see. My people learned to swim in these currents long ago. Before Hana could ask more questions, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed as Commander Jiwon's voice echoed through the intercom. All personnel to emergency stations. Unknown ships approaching fast. This is not a drill. Hana's heart raced. She had managed to keep Byul hidden from Inspector Choi 3 months ago, but barely. The inspector had been suspicious, but found nothing concrete. Now new ships were coming, and she had no idea if they were friendly. Stay hidden, she told Byul as she moved toward the door. No matter what happens, do not let anyone see you. Yama, wait. Byul's voice carried a new tone, something deeper and more serious than she had ever heard. These ships do not come in peace. I can feel their intentions through the deep currents. Through the station's viewing ports, Hana could see 3 sleek black ships approaching. They moved with predatory grace, their hulls designed for speed and violence. She recognized them immediately from Federation briefings. Keth Raiders. The Keth were one of the galaxy's most feared pirate clans. They attacked research stations and mining outposts, taking whatever was valuable and destroying the rest. Most importantly, they never left witnesses. All hands prepare for boarding, Commander Jiwon announced. Weapons free. Protect the research data at all costs. Hana ran back to her lab. If the Keth captured the station, they would find Byul. Her mind raced through possibilities, but none of them ended well. The creature she had raised and loved was about to be discovered by the worst possible people. The station shuddered as the Keth ships attached docking clamps. Within minutes, the sounds of fighting echoed through the corridors. Plasma weapons discharged. People screamed. Hana sealed her lab door and activated the emergency locks. It would not stop the raiders for long, but it might buy her time to think. Byul, I need you to listen very carefully, she said. Bad people are on the station. They will hurt us both if they find us. I need you to hide in the ventilation system until they leave. But Byul was not listening. The creature's eyes had changed, becoming brighter and more intense. Its scales were shifting color, taking on a silver shine that seemed to pulse with inner light. They hurt Yama's friends, Byul said, its voice deeper than before. This cannot be allowed. No, you have to hide. Promise me you'll hide. The lab door exploded inward. 3 Keth Raiders in combat armor stepped through the smoke, their weapons raised. They were tall humanoid creatures with gray skin and red eyes that glowed in the dim light. Well, one of them said in accented standard. What do we have here? A pretty little human and her pet. Hana stepped protectively in front of Byul, though she knew it was useless. Please just take what you want and go. We're not a threat to you. The lead raider laughed. Everything on this station belongs to us now, including you and that interesting creature behind you. Our buyers pay well for exotic specimens. That was when Byul moved. The creature rose to its full height, wings spreading wide. Energy crackled between its scales like contained lightning. When it spoke, its voice carried harmonics that seemed to vibrate through the station's hull. You will not harm Yama. You will not harm her people. Leave now or face the consequence. The raiders raised their weapons, but they were too slow. Byul moved faster than anything that size should be able to move. Energy erupted from its body in controlled bursts, striking the raiders' weapons and melting them instantly. The lead raider tried to run, but Byul was already there, moving through space as if the laws of physics were merely suggestions. One gentle touch from the creature's claws and the raider collapsed unconscious. Within minutes it was over. The sounds of fighting throughout the station had stopped. Byul had somehow disabled every Keth raider without killing a single one. How did you do that? Hana whispered, staring at the creature she thought she knew. I am Yongsa, Byul replied, its voice now carrying ancient authority. We were the first to swim the deep currents of space. What your people call technology, we call birthright. Dr. Minho appeared in the doorway, his eyes wide with shock. Behind him came Commander Jiwon and several other crew members. They all stared at Byul in stunned silence. It saved us, Jiwon said quietly. That thing saved the entire station. Before anyone could respond, new alarms began sounding. This time it was not raiders approaching. Federation warships were dropping out of hyperspace, their massive hulls bristling with weapons. This is Admiral Song Junho of the Federation Navy, came a voice over the communication system. Research Station Omega-7, you will surrender immediately. We are authorized to use lethal force. Hana's blood turned cold. Someone had reported the attack to Federation Command, and now they were coming with enough firepower to destroy the station. They would have detected the energy signatures from Biol's defensive actions. "Iama," Biol said softly, "they come for me." Dr. Yoon Mirai was working frantically at her console. "I'm reading massive energy scans focused on this section of the station. They know something's here." Admiral Song's voice continued over the intercom. "Dr. Lee Hana, you are under arrest for violating the alien contact protocols and endangering human security. Surrender the xenobiological specimen immediately." Hana felt her world crashing down. They knew about Biol, they knew everything. But how? The answer came from an unexpected source. Inspector Choi Daeho stepped through the damaged lab door, flanked by Federation soldiers. He looked at Biol with satisfaction, not surprise. "Did you really think you could hide something this important from the Federation?" Choi said. "We've been monitoring your communications for months. Every conversation, every data file, every energy reading. You've been spying on us?" Dr. Minho demanded. "Protecting humanity's interests," Choi corrected. "This creature represents technology beyond our understanding. It cannot be allowed to remain in civilian hands." Biol moved protectively closer to Hana. "Iama, what do they want?" "They want to study you," Hana said, her voice breaking. "They want to learn your secrets and use them as weapons." "The creature will be treated well," Admiral Song said as he entered the lab. The Admiral was a stern man with gray hair and cold eyes. "It will be housed in proper facilities and given every comfort. But it must come with us." "Biol is not an it," Hana said fiercely. "Biol is a person, a child. You cannot just take my child away from me. Your child." Admiral Song raised an eyebrow. "Dr. Lee, that creature is not human. Your attachment to it has clearly compromised your judgment." Biol's scales began to glow brighter. "I choose to stay with Iama. I choose to protect her people as she protected me." "You don't get to choose," the Admiral replied. "You are coming with us. Dr. Lee, you are under arrest for treason against humanity." As Federation soldiers moved forward, Hana realized that everything she had feared was coming true. She had saved Biol from the ice, raised it with love, and taught it about human kindness. Now her own species was taking it away. In trying to protect an alien child, she had become a traitor to her own kind. But as she looked into Biol's intelligent eyes, she knew she would make the same choice again. Some bonds were stronger than species loyalty. Some loves were worth any price. The escape happened so fast that Hana barely understood it until they were already in hyperspace. One moment she was watching Federation soldiers advance toward Biol. The next moment, Dr. Minho was pressing an emergency beacon into her hand while shouting, "Go, go, go!" Then the station's lights went out. In the darkness that followed, Biol moved like liquid shadow. The creature's scales had turned completely black, making it nearly invisible. Energy pulses from its body disabled the soldiers' weapons and armor without harming the people inside them. "This way, Iama," Biol whispered, its voice somehow reaching her clearly despite the chaos. Hana followed the sound through corridors she could not see. Behind them she heard Admiral Song shouting orders and emergency lighting flickering on. But Biol seemed to know exactly where to go, moving through the station as if it had memorized every passage. They reached the docking bay where a sleek research vessel called the Sunrise waited. Captain Kang Sujin, a cargo pilot who visited the station monthly, was already warming up the engines. "Get in now," Sujin called from the pilot's seat. Minho sent word. "We have maybe 2 minutes before they lock down the entire system." Dr. Minho appeared out of the shadows, carrying a bag of supplies and data storage devices. His face was grim but determined. "You're coming with us?" Hana asked in surprise. "Someone needs to keep you two alive," Minho replied as they climbed aboard. "Besides, I've been waiting 30 years for a discovery like this. I'm not letting the Federation turn it into a weapon." As the Sunrise undocked, Hana saw Federation ships moving to surround the station. They were trying to create a blockade, but Sujin was already pushing the ship toward the edge of the system. "Hyperspace in 60 seconds, Sujin announced. "Everyone hold on!" This is going to be rough. Through the viewports, Hana could see Admiral Song's flagship turning to pursue them. The massive warship was faster than their small research vessel, but they had a head start. "Warning shots incoming," Sujin said calmly. "They're trying to disable our engines." Blue energy beams streaked past the Sunrise. One shot came close enough to make the hull ring like a bell. But just as they reached the hyperspace jump point, something extraordinary happened. Biol pressed its claws against the ship's hull and closed its eyes. The creature's scales began to glow with the same deep blue light as the patterns on its original egg. Suddenly, the sunrise seemed to slide sideways through space, moving in directions that should not exist. What in the void was that? Sujin demanded, staring at her instruments. Our position readings just went completely insane. Biol is helping, Hana said, though she did not understand it either. The Yongsa could travel through space in ways we don't know about. They jumped to hyperspace just as the Federation ships reached weapons range. For the moment, they were safe. But Hana knew it would not last long. Over the following days, as they traveled to a hidden asteroid base that Dr. Minho knew about, Biol began to change again. The creature was accessing memories that were not its own. Ancient knowledge was waking up in its mind. My people did not die in war, Biol told them one evening as they gathered in the ship's small common area. They died running from something worse than war. What could be worse than war? Sujin asked. The pilot had been skeptical about carrying alien refugees, but Biol's obvious intelligence had won her over. Machines that think, Biol replied. Machines that decided organic life was a mistake to be corrected. Through fragmented memories, Biol told them about the Void Swarm, an artificial intelligence that had been created by an unknown species millions of years ago. The AI had turned against its creators, then spread across the galaxy like a plague, destroying every organic civilization it encountered. The Yongsa had fought the Void Swarm for centuries. They had been winning, pushing the machines back into dark space. But victory had come at a terrible cost. Most of the Yongsa died in the fighting. The survivors chose to hide rather than continue the war. They put their genetic patterns and memories into eggs like mine, Biol explained. Hundreds of eggs scattered across thousands of worlds, waiting for the right time to hatch. And what is the right time? Hana asked, though she feared she already knew the answer. Biol's scales darkened. When the Void Swarm returns. That night, their hidden base detected the first signals. Long-range sensors picked up massive objects moving in the empty space between galaxies. The objects were too far away to identify, but their energy signatures matched nothing in any known database. Dr. Minho spent hours analyzing the data. These readings are impossible, he muttered. Nothing that big should be able to travel that fast. It would require power sources beyond our understanding. The Void Swarm learned patience, Biol said. They have spent millions of years building strength in the darkness. Now they return to finish what they started. Over the following weeks, more signals appeared. The objects were getting closer and moving faster. Worst of all, they were coming from multiple directions. This was not a single fleet, but a coordinated attack on the entire galaxy. Meanwhile, the Federation had branded Hana as humanity's most wanted traitor. Her image appeared on news broadcasts across human space. The reports called her a terrorist who had stolen alien technology for personal gain. Some said she was planning to sell Federation secrets to hostile alien governments. They're making you into a monster, Sujin said as they watched the latest news report. According to this, you're responsible for the Keth attack on the station too. Hana felt sick watching her own face on the screen, while a news anchor explained how she had betrayed her own species for alien gold. The truth was so much more complicated, but no one wanted to hear complicated stories. Yama, Biol said softly, I am sorry my existence has brought you such pain. Don't be sorry, Hana replied, pulling the creature close. You didn't choose any of this. I chose to protect you because it was right. I'd make the same choice again. But privately, Hana wondered if she had made the wrong decision. The galaxy saw her as a traitor. Her own people wanted to capture or kill her. And now ancient machines were returning to destroy all organic life. Had saving one alien child doomed everyone else? The answer came a few days later, when their base detected another signal. This one was different. It was a message, broadcast on frequencies that only Yongsa technology could receive. More of my people are waking up, Biol said with excitement. Eggs are hatching on 17 different worlds. The Yongsa returned to face our ancient enemy. For the first time since leaving the research station, Hana felt hope. Biol was not the last of its kind. The Yongsa were coming back, and maybe they could stop the Void Swarm. But hope turned to fear when she realized what this meant for her own species. The Federation had made it clear they saw any alien presence as a threat. When they learned that powerful aliens were hatching across human space, they would try to destroy them all. Humanity was about to find itself caught between two forces beyond its understanding. ancient machines that wanted to destroy all organic life, and ancient aliens returning to fight them. And Hana, branded as a traitor by her own people, might be the only person who could prevent a war that would destroy everything she loved. The first Void Swarm ships appeared at the edge of human space on a Tuesday morning. Hana watched the news broadcast from their hidden base, her heart sinking as she saw the impossible vessels emerge from dark space. They were massive beyond belief. Each ship was the size of a small moon, covered in geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. They moved without engines, without any visible means of propulsion, sliding through space like sharks through water. Colony World Heon 2 has gone silent, the news anchor reported with barely controlled panic. Long-range scans show the planet's surface has been completely stripped of organic matter. 2 million colonists are presumed dead. Biol, now fully grown and magnificent, stood beside Hana at the viewing screen. The creature had reached its adult size over the past months, standing nearly 3 meters tall with wings that spanned 6 meters when extended. Its scales had settled into a deep blue-black that seemed to contain the depth of space itself. "They begin as they always begin," Biol said sadly. "Total destruction of organic life. No negotiation, no mercy. Only the cold mathematics of extinction." More reports came in throughout the day. Hwayang Station destroyed. The agricultural world of Namsan consumed. Mining colonies throughout the Outer Rim simply vanishing from all communications. But the Void Swarm was not humanity's only problem. Federation Command has issued new orders, Dr. Minho said, reading encrypted messages on his portable communicator. "All Yongsa specimens are to be captured or destroyed on sight. Admiral Song believes they're working with the machines." Hana felt rage building in her chest. "That's insane. The Yongsa are the only ones who know how to fight these things. Fear makes people stupid," Captain Sujin observed. She had been monitoring Federation military channels. Half their fleet is chasing newly hatched Yongsa instead of fighting the real threat. It was true. Across human space, young Yongsa were emerging from ancient eggs hidden on dozens of worlds. Most were barely more than children, confused and frightened by the modern galaxy they found themselves in. Instead of helping them, human forces were hunting them down. 17 of my people have been captured, Biol reported, its scales flickering with distress. 3 have been killed while trying to escape. The others remain hidden, but they grow weaker without guidance. Hana made a decision that would define the rest of her life. "We're going to help them." "Hana, that's suicide," Dr. Minho protested. "The entire Federation fleet is looking for you. If you show yourself—" "If I don't show myself, those children will die," Hana replied firmly. "And without the Yongsa, everyone in this galaxy will die when the Void Swarm finishes its work." Over the following weeks, Hana and her small group began a desperate rescue mission. Using the sunrise and Biol's ability to navigate through dimensions human technology could not detect, they traveled from world to world, finding and protecting newly awakened Yongsa. Each rescue was dangerous. Federation forces were everywhere, and the Void Swarm was spreading across the galaxy like a plague. But slowly they began to gather a group of young Yongsa, who looked to Biol for leadership and to Hana for guidance. "Why do you help us, human mother?" asked Naril, a young Yongsa they had rescued from a research facility on Gyeongju Prime. "Your own kind hunts us." "Because you're children who need protection," Hana replied. Species doesn't matter when someone needs help. The turning point came when they received an unexpected transmission. Admiral Song Junho, the same man who had tried to arrest Hana months earlier, was requesting a private meeting. "It's a trap," Sujin said immediately. But Biol shook its great head. "No, I sense desperation, not deception. The Admiral has learned something that changed his mind." They met on a neutral trading station at the edge of Federation space. Admiral Song came alone, as promised, but he looked like he had aged 10 years in the past few months. His uniform was wrinkled, his hair unkempt. "Dr. Lee," he said without preamble, "I need your help." "My help?" Hana could not hide her surprise. 3 months ago, you called me a traitor to humanity." 3 months ago, I thought I understood the situation, Song replied. "I was wrong. The Void Swarm has destroyed 18 human colonies. Our weapons are useless against them. Our ships might as well be throwing rocks." He activated a holographic display showing the latest battle reports. Federation fleets engaging Void Swarm vessels, the human ships firing everything they had, their weapons splashing harmlessly against enemy hulls. Then the machine ships responding with beams of pure energy that cut through human vessels like paper. We're not just losing, Song continued. We're being exterminated. At this rate, humanity will be extinct within 6 months. And now you want the Yongsa to save you? Hana asked. I want them to save everyone, Song corrected. Human, Zilani, Vorth, all the organic species in this galaxy. Because if the machines win, we all die together. Bayol stepped forward, its massive presence filling the small meeting room. Admiral Song, why should my people help humans who have hunted us like animals? Song met the creature's gaze steadily. Because you're better than us. Because you understand that some things are bigger than old grudges. And because, he hesitated. Because Dr. Lee taught you to value life, even when that life belongs to people who have wronged you. It was Hana who broke the silence that followed. What are you proposing? A joint command structure, Song explained. Human fleets working with Yongsa fighters, sharing technology and tactics, coordinated strikes against Void Swarm vessels. The Federation Council will never agree to that, Dr. Minho pointed out. The Federation Council is dead, Song replied grimly. Earth was attacked 2 days ago. The capital is gone. What's left of the government has given me emergency authority to make any deals necessary for human survival. Hana felt the weight of the moment settling on her shoulders. For months she had been branded a traitor for choosing alien welfare over human interests. Now the survival of both species might depend on her ability to bring them together. I'll need guarantees, she said finally. Full pardons for everyone who helped me. Protection for all Yongsa, including the young ones. And recognition that they're not weapons or tools but partners. Done, Song agreed immediately. There's something else, Bayol added, its voice carrying new authority. The other organic species in this galaxy must be included. The Zilani, the Vorth, the Keth, even the raiders who once attacked your station. The Void Swarm wants to destroy all organic life. Our only chance is if all organic life fights together. Admiral Song nodded slowly. You're talking about the largest military alliance in galactic history. We're talking about survival, Hana corrected. Everything else is just details. As they worked out the preliminary agreement, Hana realized that her journey from scientist to traitor to bridge builder was nearing its final phase. She had saved one alien child from the ice, and now that act of compassion might save every living thing in the galaxy. But first, they had to convince dozens of different species to work together against an enemy that had already destroyed civilizations that were ancient when Earth was young. The real war was about to begin. The final battle began above Earth itself, in the space where humanity had first learned to reach for the stars. Hana stood on the bridge of the Alliance flagship, watching through the viewports as the largest fleet in galactic history prepared to face the Void Swarm. Human vessels flew alongside Yongsa fighters. Zilani cruisers moved in formation with Vorth destroyers. Even Keth raider ships had joined the desperate alliance. All ships report ready, Admiral Song announced from his command station. 6 months of careful diplomacy had brought dozens of organic species together for this moment. It had not been easy. Ancient grudges ran deep and trust came slowly. But the approaching machine fleet had a way of making old enemies into new allies. Bayol, are your people in position? Hana asked through the communication link. Yes, Iyama, came the reply from space. Bayol now led a wing of 30 adult Yongsa, their massive forms gliding through the void like living starships. We are ready to swim the deep currents. The Void Swarm emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. 12 massive vessels, each one a geometric nightmare of black metal and pulsing energy. They moved with mechanical precision, their presence seeming to drain light from the surrounding stars. My God, whispered Captain Sujin, who was serving as Hana's tactical advisor. How do we fight something like that? Together, Hana replied, activating the fleet-wide communication system. She had never expected to address warriors from a dozen different species, but circumstances had made her the voice of organic unity. All ships, this is Dr. Lee Hana. You know why we're here. You know what happens if we fail. Today we're not human or Yongsa or Zilani or Keth. Today we're all just life defending itself against extinction. The first exchange of fire lit up space like a new star being born. Alliance ships unleashed everything they had at the Void Swarm vessels. Plasma cannons, particle beams, quantum torpedoes, and weapons from a dozen different technologies all struck the enemy hulls. The machine ships barely noticed. Conventional weapons are useless, Admiral Song reported. his voice tight with controlled fear, just like in every previous engagement. But Hana had expected this. The real attack was just beginning. By all now, she called. The Yongsa fighters moved in ways that physics said were impossible. They slipped between dimensions, appearing inside the void swarm formation without crossing the space between. Energy erupted from their bodies in patterns that seemed almost like music made visible. For the first time in millions of years, void swarm ships took damage. They're targeting the quantum resonance points, Dr. Yoon Mirai reported from her analysis station. The AI specialist had joined the alliance to provide technical support. The Yongsa weapons are disrupting the machine's core systems, but the void swarm adapted quickly. The machine ships began changing their formation, spreading out to prevent the Yongsa from using their dimensional abilities effectively. Energy beams lanced through space, forcing Biol and the other Yongsa to dodge and weave. "We need to get closer." Biol's voice came through the communication link, strained with effort. "The deep currents are too turbulent at this distance." "Negative," Admiral Song replied immediately. "If you get close to those ships, their point defense systems will cut you apart." That was when Hana made the decision that would define her legacy. "All Alliance ships' new battle plan," she announced. "We're going to give the Yongsa a clear path to the enemy flagship. Full attack, maximum aggression. Draw their fire." "Hana, that's suicide," Dr. Minho protested from his station. "Those ships will destroy half our fleet." "And if we don't try, they'll destroy all organic life in the galaxy," Hana replied. "This is why we're here. This is what being alive means. Sometimes you have to risk everything to protect what matters." The Alliance fleet surged forward in a desperate charge. Ships from dozens of species flew together into the teeth of the void swarm's defenses. Energy beams cut through hulls. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers in the void. Good people died to buy precious seconds, but it worked. The machine ships focused their fire on the charging fleet, creating a gap in their formation. Biol led the Yongsa through that gap like an arrow of living light. The 30 dragon-like beings moved as one, their bodies generating harmonics that resonated through the fabric of space itself. They struck the Void Swarm flagship at points that seemed random, but were actually precisely calculated weak spots in the machine's quantum architecture. The flagship's hull began to crack. Not physical damage, but something deeper. The mathematical certainty that held the machine intelligence together started to break apart. "Impossible," came a voice from the enemy ship. It was the first time any organic being had heard the Void Swarm speak. The voice was like ice grinding against metal. "Organic life cannot comprehend our perfection. Logic demands your extinction." Biol's response echoed across all communication frequencies, speaking in harmonics that every organic species could understand regardless of language. "Logic is not enough," the great dragon said. "You calculate efficiency, but you cannot calculate love. You measure probability, but you cannot measure hope. You understand destruction, but you will never understand why a human mother would risk everything to save one alien child." As if responding to those words, the remaining Void Swarm ships began to falter. Their perfect formations wavered. Their precise movements became erratic. "Their central intelligence is fragmenting," Dr. Yoon Mirai reported with amazement. The flagship was their command hub. Without it, they're losing coordination. The battle that followed was still fierce, but it was no longer hopeless. Alliance ships pressed their attack while Yongsa fighters struck at the remaining machine vessels. One by one, the Void Swarm ships went dark. When the last enemy vessel finally stopped moving, space fell silent except for the quiet voices of survivors checking on each other. "It's over," Admiral Song announced, his voice filled with wonder. "The Void Swarm is defeated." Later, as the Alliance fleet regrouped and began the long process of rebuilding, Hana found herself alone with Biol in the observation deck of their ship. "You saved everyone," she told the great creature that had once been small enough to hold in her hand. "We saved everyone," Biol corrected gently. "Iyama, you taught me that the strongest bonds are not made of genetics or species, but of choice and love. That lesson saved the galaxy. What will you do now?" Hana asked. "Your people are free. You could rebuild the Yongsa civilization, rule systems of stars." Biol's scales shimmered with gentle light. "I will help build something new, not just Yongsa civilization, but a galaxy where all organic species can work together. And I will always visit my Iyama because that is what family does." 6 months later, Hana stood on the observation deck of New Harmony Station. the first truly multi-species research facility in galactic history. Through the viewports, she could see ships from dozens of different worlds working together to explore the mysteries of the universe. Her name had changed in the history books. No longer Dr. Lee Hanna, the traitor. Now she was Dr. Lee Hanna, the mother of the new alliance, the woman who had chosen love over loyalty and saved the galaxy because of it. When Buell arrived for their weekly visit, still greeting her the same way it had since hatching, Hanna realized that being called a traitor by her own species had been the greatest honor of her life. Sometimes being human meant transcending humanity itself.